Hi, I'm Dallas Mount, owner of Ranch Management Consultants. I want to take just a few minutes and tell you about the Executive Link, or EL program. In Executive Link, we put business owners on boards of directors for one another. Generally, there's 5 or 6 businesses on a board. Usually 2 people come per business. At the Ranching for Profit School, you paid a tuition for individual. In EL, you pay a tuition to join as a business. Multiple people can come to the EL meetings from your business. It doesn't matter if they've been through Ranching for Profit or not, but at least one member had to have come to the school to qualify. The EL boards meet 3 times a year, and through a structured process, they look inside each other's business and give each other strategic advice, and then more importantly, hold each other accountable for the results that they agree to produce. EL's not right for everyone. It takes a serious commitment to join EL because you're not just promising to be there for yourself, but you're promising to be there for those on your team, on your board. EL doesn't work if people don't show up. In the following video, you'll hear EL members talk about their experiences in Executive Link. There's some real keys to making this work. It takes a diversity of viewpoints, a deep level of trust, and a commitment from everyone on the board.
Every time we come, we walk away encouraged, challenged. Every time we learn something new, and just the network of people. I love the Ranch for Profit School, but we have gained so much more from Executive Link.
Part of the reason that I wanted to join EL is because I feel like there's something out there big that we're not seeing. We try to look at things from all different angles. We're really good at dissecting things, but I just feel like there's something big for our company that we're not seeing.
So we needed fresh perspective to look at our business and show us the opportunities that we couldn't see. We found the pathway today to get the 10-time return on investment, and without having EL and without having our board pushing us, no, we wouldn't have got to that return. We've got some ideas, but they're small, and the board has challenged us to easily get to there.
I think we get encouragement each time we go to a meeting, and being held accountable.
This sounds crazy. It's all about accountability for me. These really are my board of directors for my business. Looking at my business is valuable, but I learn more looking at everyone else's business. I'll go home with a pile of notes on what I learned that they're doing wrong. Turns out I was doing the same thing wrong, but I couldn't see it till I looked at someone else. Or they're doing something right, or we came up with an idea for something to do right, and all of a sudden I realized we could do that too.
One of our biggest breakthroughs, I think, came from somebody else's meeting and somebody else's agenda. And when we left, I mean, it wasn't about what we went in for, and we came out with something totally different.
Every meeting I see things in their businesses and from the other board members that I would not have thought about on my own, and it just is an incubator for great ideas and motivation and accountability.
There's probably 10 things at every meeting that we come away with thinking, oh, maybe we should look into that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think if we were to write a job description of ourselves as board members, it's pretty wide ranging, but a lot of it is to be a good listener, to be a confidant, and to be a ruthless analyst in looking at other people's businesses, and to give people the brutal, honest truth about what you see in their businesses in a constructive manner that's going to make them or help them improve and help them, give them the tools to come to decisions or conclusions themselves, come to the answers themselves.
You know, it's our job to look at their materials and find what they're missing, or find things that could potentially be an issue for them that they haven't thought of.
The role of us to be on the board is to ask the hard questions that no one else will ask, to make sure that you've dug everything out that could possibly become a problem, also to dig out the positives, but you know, you don't always look for those things yourself, or you're not willing to see things sometimes that are right in front of you. And so as I feel like that's our job, is to help kind of mine that stuff out.
And if that takes 84% of our time to help the other ranchers on our board, that's a cool deal. I mean, we're there to help them. They're there to help us, and that's the fun part, is trying to help the other board members with their business decisions. That's the
best part of the
powerful
whole
part
thing.
of it.
So my job as a board member is the old cliche: teach a person to fish. Don't just give them a fish. I might actually know the answer to their problem, but the thing is, they don't. We got to ask them the right questions. One of the most valuable things I've learned is just to ask people and let them tell you things. Farther than that is listening to understand.
They push you outside of your box. They push on all of your assumptions, on everything that you have done in the past, and they say, why? What are you doing? And I feel like we get to the heart of things, and they make us feel like, well, we've dreamed bigger, and we have a bigger vision for ourselves because of coming to our board. We felt limited in our dreams because we thought they weren't possible before.
We would have never got here without Executive Link.
No, and we've only been here a year.
It's a structure for the meetings that's pretty disciplined and on task and on time, and having that process and procedure probably gives the comfort level for people to share what they need to share, and share what they want to share to solve problems and create solutions.
You have to have some discipline, you have to have some structure to get anywhere at one of these meetings, or else we'd be here all day going around and around in circles. So yeah, the structure is awesome for these meetings.
We have a time factor. There's a certain amount of time to get things done. We have to get down to business. We have to talk about the difficult things. There's a how and when we're going to talk about them, and how we're going to close out our meetings. You have to have that structure.
Every time you go to a cattleman's convention or the wool growers convention, everybody gets together and they talk. And look how much progress that is made from standing around in a circle talking. Instead of just going in a circle discussing what could, what if, maybe, you're always approaching an end. And I think the board, there's enough flexibility and enough experience, at least on our board, that there are times where just the roundtable discussion is valuable. But being able to bring that back together into a structured meeting and move forward is invaluable to me.
I also feel like the structure allows everybody to get their time out of the meeting equally, and come away with the same experience as far as action plans at the end. I feel like if you did not have that structure, some people's businesses might not really delve into what really needs to happen.
I think having standardized procedures like the structure we just talked about, and also the forms, that everybody comes with the same materials, and preferably doesn't come with the materials, preferably distributes them 2 weeks ahead of time. But I think if there's standardization amongst them, then we're kind of like comparing apples to apples.
Our members want to be effective, so yeah, we want the stuff out so we can look it over and review it and think about it, have time to think about some stuff on their Fox form before we get to the meeting.
You have time to think about everything several days ahead of the meeting, so you've had time to process a lot of the stuff that's presented. There's a lot more that comes out at the meeting, but you've got your brain headed in the right direction before you get there.
I think there's extreme value in having the diversity, because it's somebody who at the base level understands what we're all doing, but yet they're from another area, they're being totally objective. So it's like fresh eyes looking at your stuff. Even if it was other businesses that weren't ranching businesses, I think there would still be a lot of value, and even maybe more value, because they would ask tougher questions about why our industry does what we do.
We want people outside of our box. People that are coming from all over the country to come up with new ideas. If we have if we don't have that diversity, then we're all doing the same thing and having the same ideas.
And if we want opinions from people who already do what we do, we could just go talk to our local community. I mean, that's right there. So we're trying to find some new things. And
I think diversity always brings more ideas and more knowledge of different businesses to the table, which again is like it's like the yeast to make the bread rise.
It's really valuable to have the broad spectrum of people, whether it's age, experience, geographic location, because that brings so many different things than essentially my neighbors would to something like this. My neighbors go through the same things, they have the same paradigms that we do. And so to have somebody maybe be able to break that paradigm somewhere else is very valuable.
Trust is one of the main factors that makes EL successful, but I think there's also a culture there that drives the success. EL has a reputation of you can go into a board meeting and what happens in that board meeting stays there. And you can divulge with these people and you can laugh and you can cry, and what happens there stays there.
Another big component is the lack of judgment that is there. The lack of judgment really helps people open up a lot.
Confidentiality is sacred. It's not something you walk into the coffee shop and just proclaim to everyone, but at this little room with these people that you trust, you bare your soul.
Everybody is just as concerned about the other businesses as they are about their own. We're losing sleep over their problem. If it's a big problem, we're right there with them, going through it with them.
the people on our Executive Link board care about our business.
As if it were their own.
Yeah. And we feel the same way about their businesses. We leave here exhausted because we feel like we put our heart and soul into their businesses.
Executive Link is the most effective program I know of at helping business leaders implement changes in their businesses and in their lives.